Alright, Truth Seekers, in this video I'm going to cover a group of posts from an individual who posted in my Telegram last month. And these posts were made in specific reference to that video, 4POG's Ghost in the Machine, that had gone viral on YouTube, uploaded by the 4PSYOP group. It looks as though there is an opportunity to learn more about this specific group through a separate YouTube channel they had set up. The next immediate topic I'll cover on my channel will be the food plant fires. Apparently there's 97 in the running tally and what that means. I also have interest in taking another look at the old Challenger disaster, which occurred January 28, 1986, really looking at it from a reality paradox perspective in a similar vein to this video. Also, I'll have to revisit Eric Prince's history in the context of this forum. I will likely open up a memberships portion on the YouTube platform where I provide feedback on experimentation with certain unusual products I've tried. I will also discuss experiences with frequency technology. The plan would then be to make the videos in the member section public after certain periods of time within a month, mainly so this type of content doesn't begin to crowd out the more existential and conspiratorial content the channel has largely been based on up to this point. Okay, now going to this post. So shortly after I uploaded a video that was based on the 4POG's Ghost in the Machine video, this individual named Asaka joins the Telegram chat, which again I'll put a link to in the description and pin. And she perfectly describes a reason that this 4POG group chose the Coco the Clown symbolism. Okay, as an aside, I had just went back to look for the specific Coco the Clown cartoon, and I think I found some material that may require a further look in a future video. So listen carefully to this.
Looking glass, looking glass, looking glass. I've heard about your looking glass. What it says is so.
Okay, that is interesting. Looking glass, although a rather common object, has picked up connotations over time that could partly be as a result of a PSYOP, which I'll cover in a future video, to pick up this focus on time traveling. So here is Coco and Coco's transformation.
Wide world over.
So Asaka states as one outcome of a PSYOP attack, the target of a PSYOP will either take in, internalize a payload, or they will not internalize the payload. But actually, PSYOP attacks are designed to fail because that initial failure could lead to mimification. As she describes, the sheer audacity or design will be laughed at and shared around as a joke. This is the clown phase. We're introduced to this term, illusory truth effect, which states that people tend to perceive claims as truer if exposed to them before. Eventually, the attack that started out as a joke will transform into this ironic object. The ironic object, once recognized, then becomes a part of the group's language. One such terminology that I think may fit this category is the term new F bundle sticks that you'll see on the 4chan, or maybe in kinder terminology, a noob. Another way to say it's a part of the group's language would be to say it's a handle. So the handles used can alter the visceral emotional impact of a given term. And so we're given the military example of collateral damage versus civilian casualties. The handle itself will become part of a feedback loop that will trigger the illusory truth effect to modify associations, and stated, or priming people to be especially sensitive or paranoid to new responses, and thus ensuring that old associations can be defeated with newer engineered associations. This is the ghost phase. I'm not sure if I fully get this, but one example I could potentially imagine would be the certain type of reaction that one political side has against conservatives that I think may be an offshoot of skepticism concerning the actual events which occurred at that time and the involvement of certain organizations to potentially suggest an alternative historical narrative. And so it becomes on a spectrum of what leads to terminology stigmatization. She goes on to say that this is especially potent for situations where there are ranks, such as the military or governments, organizations that use identity-based language and code switching. And so if by using this technique, you're able to sow a seed of doubt, then the alternative counterpoint, the refutation, can be strategically placed to maximize circulation, and that allows the informational payload to execute within the target. And I'll quote here, finally, illusory truth by definition means even if one is aware of the attack, ITE is just the gradual erosion of an outside opinion via raw stimulus and repetition. Through ITE, the targeted refutation to construct the narrative doubt, pretty much any opinion can be cultivated given enough time and precise communication frequency. Thus, anybody can drink the Kool-Aid and anybody can become a Ted Kaczynski. She goes on to say that Stratcom was aware of this since 2012. The United States Strategic Command is one of 11 unified combatant commands in the United States Department of Defense. It's headquartered in Offutt Air Force Base in Nebraska. It's responsible for strategic deterrence, global strike, and operating the Defense Department's global information grid. She goes on to say, a theory circulating is that many of the mimetic warfare techniques as studied under ACT are based on techniques taken from internet activists who use the term clown world. So I was trying to figure out what is ACT, what's the abbreviation for. I did some searching, and so I believe it's the NATO Allied Command Transformation. I surmise that because they came out with this document spring of 2017 called It's Time to Embrace Mimetic Warfare. So I think I may go into this particular document more detail in a future video. And it's from here and something awful that the techniques of most online information psychological warfare operations were developed. And then she names a Michael Prosser, the Lieutenant Colonel of MC Proposing Mimetic Warfare Center 2005, Jeff Giza, NATO Stratcom COE, using some of the coded language code switching of those communities. Before I get too far afield, I just want to show you where ACT sits in a NATO command structure. You have the North Atlantic Council, which is the top, then the Secretary General of NATO, then the Chair of NATO Military Committee, and then below that you have SACEUR, and then SACT. And SACT is based in Norfolk, and they are tasked to provide a conceptual framework for the conduct of future combined joint operations, define how future operations will be conducted, what capabilities they need. To take on new operational concepts like meme warfare. Yes, it's very useful. Thanks. So then I asked why she takes special interest in this topic of PSYOP, and so I'm told that the techniques applied are what would be considered anti-PSYOP by traditional techniques, because classical PSYOP revolves around perceptions of distrusting your leaders and their goals with what's called manufactured consent and perceived goal misalignment. The fourth POG is a centralized strategy engineering group for which the 3rd, 6th, 7th, and 8th follow, with the 8th conducting the 1st, 5th, and 9th on the ground. So you can consider it the group which designs the base strategy that the others then have to replicate and symmetrize to ensure the directed effort of the attack is uniformly consistent, that the message works as intended. She describes certain communities, including FARK, Something Awful, 4chan, and Dig, as being the crucible where these techniques were developed. She states that her special interest came from a paper she wrote in 2002 on the topic. It opened with Shakespeare and Gilbert Rye's assessment of dualism in the book The Concept of the Mind, Ghosts in the Machine, which summarized the techniques that she and teams she collaborated with in testing and engineering through the use of bot accounts on various communities and specific actor responses had in conjunction with applied machine learning to apply what she describes as applied gestalt response. And so this is defined as one's ability to find friends, trends, patterns, and talking points within mass conversation along a given tag or topic, and thus leverage keywords in formulating responses. I kind of interpret that as being able to apply a response algorithmically to a topic you do not know much about, which is a viable technique to apply in machine learning to AI. She then goes on to describe Podklinov. I use the pronoun she, I hope I'm not misgendering here. It's a very interesting topic, but I'm going to cover it potentially in combination of other related topics in another video. I'll go ahead and end this video now, but we'll just end by saying thank you, Osaka, for your interesting contribution concerning anti-PSYOP interpretation of the Coco the Clown character of the POG Psywar video. Anyhow, y'all, take care. Peace.